Okay, so welcome back. This is part 7 of the WRX Detail Series now. So what we're going to be doing in part 7 is we're going to take the wheels off the car, we're going to do a full decontamination of them, and what I'll do is I'll take you over to the shelf and show you through the whole process we're going to do. So obviously the Decon soap, we're going to give them a really good clean up and then use a couple of chemical decontamination tools here, which is our Tarex and our Iron Decon. And then the whole idea is what we'll do with the wheels is protect them by coating them. So we're going to use our Gtechniq C1, this is the wheel armour, will mean that these wheels are really easy to clean for months and hopefully years, maybe a year to come. So join us. What we'll do is we'll take the wheels off the car now, get them outside and start our decon process.
These wheels are filthy. So it's going to be really good to take these wheels off fully, clean inside the barrels, clean around the rims on the outside here, and we're going to get in and clean these wheel wells, and also we'll clean these calipers. So really excited to get in there and give this a good clean up. Oh, people will hate that on the video. They won't be happy with that. Jeez, people will be yelling at me. Taking the wheels off like that. To start cleaning these wheels, I'm going to give them a quick rinse down, and hopefully that'll get all that sort of loose wheel grime off there and brake dust. So these wheels, these tyres are pretty much brand new. These are the Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, but these wheels are definitely absolutely filthy. So I do have a couple of layers of Meguiar's fast finish on here, and it has made in the past cleaning these wheels really easily, but I didn't put it on the barrels of the wheels, and as you can see they're filthy in there. So giving this a bit of a quick little rinse down is probably not going to remove too much stuff. Alright. Now in our PF22 foam cannon here, I've got 150 mils of decontamination soap. That's the Obsessed Garage decontamination soap. I'm all fingers, in this. Right. So we'll just let that sit there and dwell for a couple of minutes, and hopefully that decontamination soap is going to loosen up that Meguiar's fast finish that's on here, and hopefully we can remove that off the surface of these wheels. Get these prepared well so that when we come to coat them, that coating binds really well to the surface of the wheels. So we'll let that sit on there for a couple of minutes, and now I'm going to just spray, this is straight up brake buster onto these wheels. And in my Meguiar's bucket here, I've got a little bit of decontamination soap and a couple of the tools that we'll need to clean these wheels up. So, lamb's wool mitt. This is the finger mitt. I really love this thing. This thing's really good for cleaning wheels. And when I first got this, I didn't think it was going to be ideal for cleaning wheels, but it's definitely helped me increase the speed at which I can clean these wheels, and I thoroughly enjoy using it. It's pretty cheap, so definitely recommend getting one of these. Super easy to get in and out of these spokes with this, and I suppose we're never going to really know if I'm removing that Meguiar's fast finish on here, but I guess the intention's there. So I've managed to clean most of these wheels up using that lamb's wool mitt. I've sprayed a little bit more brake buster, and I'm just going to use my race glaze brush just to get into the little crevices of these wheels. These race glaze brushes, I've got the 5-pack as well as the standalone XL brush, and these things are really good. I find that the XL is probably a little bit too big to get into these spokes of these wheels, so I just have chosen just one of the the next size down. I think it's a size, they do have them written on here. This is the size 16 in the 5-pack. You really want to make sure that you're removing all that dirt and grime, brake dust off these wheels, because especially when you're going to coat them, you want to make sure that that coating is going to sit on all aspects of these wheels, and that's going to make cleaning a lot easier, and it's going to give them a really nice finish to them. So a little bit of straight up brake buster on the tyre here, on the rubber part. Let that sit, dwell for a little bit, and I have our Tough Shine tyre brush here, and I'm just going to sort of rub that up and down, and hopefully we get a lot of that sort of that blackness that will come out of the tyre, all that dirt that's on the tyre. These are pretty new, so I'm probably not going to get too much out, but when everyone knows that when you get new tyres, the tyre guys there, they love to spray that big, thick, tacky, awful tyre dressing on there, so I want to definitely remove that. I want to strip that back, clean this tyre up as much as I can, so that when I apply my Obsessed Garage tyre dressing, that it really takes well to this rubber here. But I literally just drove these tyres home from the tyre shop the other day, and that's as far as I've gone, so I'm probably not going to get too much off, but if these tyres had been on the car for quite some time, then you would get definitely a lot more sort of dirt coming out of the rubber here. The face of the wheels are all clean. I give them a real quick rinse down. I'm going to flip them over. I'm going to do exactly the same to the barrels. Decon soap. There's quite a few spots of tar in there, so it'll be really nice to watch Tarex get to work on there, and hopefully we can remove most of that tar. Okay, so that's the barrels of these wheels all tidied up. So before anyone decides they want to get on the keyboard and type me a little comment, don't panic. These wheels, the face of these wheels aren't touching the concrete, it's just the outside, so hopefully we're not inducing any more scratches on the face of those wheels. Where it's sitting on the outside here is all scratched up anyway from concrete curbing and things like that, so please don't stress about that. So I've got a little bit of iron decon on here. Maguire's iron decon will spray the inside of these, and hopefully we see lots of iron come off these wheels. So these brakes aren't carbon ceramics, they're just your typical steel brakes, and so hopefully we get lots of iron removal. Okay, so there's a little bit of purple spots you can see here. This is on these bits of tar here. You can see that that's taken the iron out. I guess the impression was that we were going to remove lots of iron and you'd see this whole thing look real purple, but I guess I removed some of that iron when I did our first little wash down with that Decon soap. But you can see in and around here where it attaches onto the rotor there, you can see quite a bit of iron coming out there. So that iron Decon's definitely doing its job, removing as much iron as we can. So another little rinse off, and then we'll spray the Tarex on. So I'm just spraying a little bit of Tarex on here, CarPro Tarex, to remove all this tar from the barrels of the wheels here. Let that sit, dwell for a little bit, and we'll watch this tar run down the barrels like it's doing already. So just giving this a little bit of an agitation with my nail, just to remove those bigger spots of tar off there. Okay, so we've cleaned up the barrels of these wheels. They've come up really nicely. I've managed to remove the the little wheel weights sticky that was on there. I've managed to remove all the tar in here. So Tyrex has really been my friend in cleaning up the barrels of these. CarPro Tyrex has done a really good job of removing all that tar. Really happy. Flip the wheel over, spray it with our iron decon and some Tyrex again, and that's this wheel all clean. And we'll just let it dry for the coating stages. So same again, Maguire's iron decon. And I thought that we would expect lots of iron particles to come off these wheels like we did on the barrels, but because I've already given them a quick little wash, I don't think we're expected to see that. So we might get a few little spots, but we'll see. We'll see how this works. So just let that dwell for a little bit and come back and have a look. And sort of as predicted, there not much iron has come off because we'd removed most of it with that decon wash. But there's a few little spots here and there in the inside of these little cracks that is just starting to appear. We'll give it a little bit of a rinse off now. And there is a little bit of tar here and there on these wheels, so we'll spray this down with our CarPro Tyrex, and hopefully we can remove that tar like we did on the barrels. So I've just been around with my finger and agitated the Tyrex on here, and I've managed to remove pretty much all the tar off the face of these wheels. So really happy with how these are turning out. I'll give them a rinse down. And there we are. I think we're all done. So I'm going to put this one to a side, let it dry off, continue on the other three wheels, and we'll come back and show you the coating of them. Okay, so the wheels are all clean. They're just sitting next to us here, just waiting to get dried, and then they'll be ready for the coating. I'm going to start and clean these wheel arches. Now this is probably overkill for most people, but I think that because we're like 60 hours deep into this thing already, what's another couple of hours spent on cleaning up wheel arches so they look real nice for the first drive, and then they'll be dirty again. But anyway, I'm going to spray some Maguire's all-purpose cleaner up into these arches, and then I'm going to hit them with some Maguire's the vinyl cleaner. Now this is really good. This stuff is awesome at cleaning up things like plastic trim, and we'll be using it when we go around the outside of the car, around the windows and stuff, when we remove that tape, because that cleans it up really nicely. So give this a generous spray down in here. Ooh. Don't get too close in there because it's pretty toxic. Crikey. And we'll just let that sit there for a little bit and drip nice mud, brake dust and dirt and stuff all over this beautiful carpet in the garage. So it's had some time to dwell, and I've just got my tyre brush here, the Tough Shine tyre brush. Just agitating all the plastics in here, cleaning them up. This back stuff here is not plastic, it's part of the body of the car, but it'll still scrub up pretty nicely. Alright, a little bit of our vinyl cleaner on here. Same thing. If you had the luxury of being able to jack the car up outside, like in a covered carport or something, you could then get your pressure washer and hose this down, but we aren't quite that fortunate. And I just have my lamb's wool mitt just getting in here and just now starting to wipe all this stuff off. No one else is going to know that it's nice and clean back here, but I will. And like I said, we're already so deep into this, what's another little bit longer for that little satisfaction to know that this has been a decent clean. Okay, so that's the inside of these plastics inside the wheel arch here. It's cleaned up really nicely. It's just a little bit wet in there. It's just drying off slightly. But now we're going to tackle these calipers. So same again, a little bit of APC. We're going to end up coating these as well, so I want to make sure we do a really nice job of getting these all cleaned up. And I'm quite lucky that I've managed to be able to get the bucket, just squeeze it in there to so that it can all just drip off into that bucket. So just let that dwell a little bit, and then I've got my race glaze brush again, and we're just going to go around and just agitate that APC inside of these calipers here. Alright, so I'll just grab our lamb's wool mitt. I'm just basically using this to allow me to get some water on here, just to sort of as a rinse, as the ability to be able to rinse these down, because I can't get the hose in here obviously. Just going to spray a little bit of brake buster on these calipers. The APC did a pretty good job at removing some of the stuff, but there's a little bit of extra stubbornness that we need to remove. I think it would be pretty safe to say that these calipers have been on the car for 17 years, and I would say that no one has ever decided that they want to go to this much trouble to clean these, so that's probably why it's becoming a bit difficult. Yeah, I think brake buster is the way to go there. I would use brake buster instead of the APC on these calipers. I think that brake buster is just a little bit more powerful, and it seems to be eating down that brake grime a little easier than the APC. That would be my choice. It's working a lot easier, and it foams up really well, so it's good with your race glaze brush to just agitate, let that sit for a little bit, and then we'll grab our lamb's wool mitt and rinse off again. Yeah, I would just use your brake buster. Don't even worry with your APC, that's way better. That's worked way nicer. Gosh, brake buster is such a nice product to work with for the brakes and cleaning up the wheels and stuff. Definitely a good sledgehammer when you need it. And so the last little step in our process is just to finish these rotors off with a little bit of Hyde serum. So this stuff is meant to sort of stop the rust, meant to remove the rust so that you've got nice clear rotors. So I never really used this product before, so we'll see what happens.
I think typically this product here is used as something that you can spray on after you finish your wash. So you do about 3 or 4 spritzes on the rotors, and in that way it stops them from rusting over once the water dries on there. So a little bit of a different application process here. This is the first time we've tried this in a cleaning process. We probably are dousing it down a little bit more than necessary, but we'll just try and hit this and get these as clean as possible, and then this is something we'll use in our just maintenance wash process.
So I think you're meant to use this, spray it on, and then roll the car backwards and forwards a little bit, and that's just meant to, you know, as the rotor goes round, scrape it through the brakes, and it's meant to remove just that little bit of rust. So I've sprayed it on here. We'll clean them up sort of, and then that should just about nearly wrap up our caliper and wheel arch cleaning. Okay, so this is the Meguiar's Hyperdressing. I'm going to spray quite a lot in these wheel arches here to really soak down the plastic and a little bit of the metal here. And as you can see, when I'm spraying it on here, you can see it looks quite glossy and quite a wet finish. But as this dries and soaks, hopefully we'll be left with a real nice sort of matte finish. Okay, so you just want to wipe this Hyperdressing. I've let it soak into this plastic for a little bit, but you just want to wipe it nice and flat. And you're left with a nice matte finish, because I chose to do the 4:1 ratio there, which just leaves a nice matte finish on this plastic trim, and that's essentially what we've got left behind. So I'll just wipe down this other side, and then we're ready to get into coating these wheels with C5 wheel armour. Okay, so I've just wiped the face of this wheel down with Meguiar's Surface Prep, ready to prepare the surface to apply our Gtechniq C5 wheel armour on here. I'm also going to prepare the rubber, so I'm going to use a bit of mineral spirits. You can use white spirits or mineral turpentine. Actually, I've got mineral turpentine here. They're all kind of the same sort of product, and you just want to clean this rubber up so that it accepts that tyre dressing. It's going to turn the tyre quite sort of dry. It's going to dry this out, but we want to make sure that the surface is nice and clean so that tyre dressing really soaks into here. Spray this on. And then we're going to grab our cloth here and just wipe the surface of this tyre off. And I'm just using a microfiber. These are my wheel cleaning towels. And there's not a lot coming off them. This is keeping this rag pretty clean, because I think these wheels are, well, the tyres here are pretty clean because these are only really new. Okay, so we had a little bit of a joke the other day on our wash and talk video about whether or not I would denib the face of these tyres, and I said I wouldn't. But old mate over here couldn't help himself, so he got the razor blade out and the face of these wheels have all been denibbed. So no nibs on here, much to my disgust, but I'm pleased that he's happy with himself and that he managed to get around and do that. Okay, so we're all ready to apply our wheel coating. So we're going to be using Gtechniq C1 to these wheels. So thanks to Gtechniq and Nick at Detailing Shed for supplying us with this product. We've got the 15ml bottle here, and they sort of recommend, or Gtechniq kind of recommend, that this will last sort of 2 years, give us 2 years durability on the coating on these wheels, and hopefully it's going to make cleaning these wheels so much easier, because when I come to clean these on a normal basis, cleaning in and out of these spokes is really difficult. So I'm really excited to try this product. It's the first time we've ever applied this before. I'm also going to be applying it to the calipers as well, and Gtechniq kind of recommend that you can apply it to calipers as well, so it must have some sort of heat resistance kind of component to it. So I've got our CarPro suede microfiber cloth here, and we're just going to do like we did with the paint. Soak this down for our first go. Now this doesn't have a little dropper inside it, it's got the dropper on top there, so we're just going to have to sort of, and just be careful because that's come out really quickly, but soak our microfiber down. We do have the 15ml bottle here, so we're going to have to be a little bit sort of sparingly with it, just to make sure that we do have enough to coat all the way around here. And this has a relatively fast flash time. So sort of 60 seconds or so is their flash time once you've applied it. So we have to move pretty quickly. And I'll do probably half this wheel at a time. So that's half the wheel there, we'll come back. So we'll let that flash for 60 seconds or so, and then we're going to come with our coating removal towel and just wipe that down. So just when I come to do these backs of these spokes here, it's probably not necessary because no one's ever going to see it, but for completeness we might as well get it done. Now this is just sort of highlights the importance of maybe taking your microfiber or your suede pad off your block, because it just makes it so much easier to get in and around here. So you could probably get away with not having it on that CarPro block that we used before. And as long as you keep nice and organised, remember which towel is your first wipe and which towel is your second wipe, this stuff is pretty easy to apply. So I've just flipped the wheel over, and now I'm going to apply the C5 wheel armour to the face of these wheels. So once again I'm working in a nice organised fashion. I've taken the suede applicator off the foam block because it's easier to get in and out of these spokes here. And I guess if you had wheels that weren't as, or didn't have as many spokes as these ones, then it would make it, you know, sort of coating these a lot easier, a lot more efficient. But I definitely feel that by coating these, time spent getting this right is going to make my cleaning so much easier when it comes time to do that. So I hope this is all worth it. So this stuff is applying really easy. It's making these wheels look really slick, or not making them look slick, but feel really slick. And also I can see that this sort of, I've worked around that sort of half there, and I can see that it's sort of made that shine a little bit. So when we had sort of decontaminated it, pulled all the stuff off the wheels, they lost a little bit of shine. They looked a little dull. It's probably not going to display that on the camera, but down here at eye level it definitely did that. So I'm happy that this is getting its shine back. Okay, so just finishing up, applying a little bit of coating to the caliper now, and should also make these clean up a lot easier too in the cleaning process. So same again, you just want to stay nice and organised with your cloth here, just to try and coat all that surface with that C5. Alright, so now that we've coated sort of one wheel and one caliper, we need to let it cure. So Gtechniq have recommended that you let this cure for sort of 12 odd hours without any exposure to the elements. And so we'll make sure that we do that before we drive this thing anywhere. And so that's based on their recommendation. We'll just give this a little bit of a wipe down, let it cure while we finish off other parts of the vehicle. So just while we're letting the face of these wheels cure for the next couple of hours or so, we're going to just apply our tyre dressing, so OG tyre dressing. I believe this is made by B&B Blending, and Matt from Obsessed Garage has just put his logo on there. This stuff smells really nice. It's got a really nice pleasant smell, and it's nice and thick. So we're going to apply it with our XL race glaze brush, spray away from the car that you spent hours trying to get right. And we'll just apply this on. It's nice and thick, so we prepped the tyres before with that mineral turpentine, so hopefully this tyre dressing really takes to the surface here. And you can see it's nice and thick. It's real slick stuff. And definitely by using your race glaze brush, it's so much easier to apply than spreading it and spraying it all over the face of the wheels that we just coated. So it's got a really nice fruity smell, very nice and pleasant. So I've used so much different tyre dressings. I've used Meguiar's endurance tyre dressing, I've used Carpo Pearl, I've played around with different dilutions of Hyperdressing, and by far this Obsessed Garage OG tyre dressing is definitely the best stuff I've ever used. It's nice and thick to apply, nice and pleasant. It doesn't last as long, so you're probably going to get about a week or so out of this, but you can just keep topping it up. And once you've sort of applied it a couple of times to your wheels, it sort of takes so much better, and then you're going to get a lot more endurance out of that. So I really enjoy using this product, and I definitely recommend you get some, because man, this is some of the best stuff I've ever used. So kudos to Matt at Obsessed Garage for getting this product in his store. Alright, so we're going to leave these for a couple of hours. We're going to let this tyre dressing soak into the rubber there, and then we're going to come back with our microfiber towel and level this off. We'll remove all the high spots, all that sort of wet sheen off, and we'll be left with a nice dark richness, really nice black richness on the tyres.
So the final step on these tyres before we put them on the car, now they've sat for a few hours, is just to wipe down the high spots of our Obsessed Garage tyre dressing. So we're wiping off the high spots and really just spreading this evenly, because what we're after here is a nice matte finish. We don't want the tyre to have too much shine to it. We're just looking for a really deep, rich, black uniform finish to it. So it really is just as easy as that. A few wipes to take off the excess, level it all down, and these are all ready to go back on the car now. And I'm just tightening these up very loosely with the Ryobi impact wrench here. These wheels are only torqued down to 100 Newton meters, so it's just a matter of doing our hand tightening with the impact wrench.
So the vehicle's all lowered back down to the ground now. Now we can come around and torque these lug nuts up to 100 Newton meters is the torque spec of this car. So we've got the 10 Tools torque wrench here. Double check, should be all good. Alright, so that pretty much wraps up the end of this this part of the series, which was the wheels. So we went round, took the wheels off, we decontaminated them, got the surface all nice and prepped, and then we applied sort of one layer of Gtechniq C5, which is their wheel armour, and then we finished the rubber off with the Obsessed Garage tyre dressing. So these have come up really well, and I'm really happy with them. So the next step in the series for you guys is the interior, which is going to be another mega job. So hopefully you guys look forward to that. Please hit the subscribe button so that you guys get that content coming through. Thanks for watching.